650 police officers, a 13-hectare compound, 5 stories underground, a fortress built to survive a nuclear war, inside 403 servers, 2 petabytes of data, and a digital gateway to the criminal underworld.
This wasn't just an arrest, it was an invasion.
The target was a Cold War relic turned into a physical home for the dark web. This is the story of Cyberbunker and the man who built a fortress for the internet's secrets. To understand how a NATO bunker became a criminal empire, you first need to know its king, Herman Johan van der Veen, known online as Zent. He was a reclusive Dutch computer enthusiast and a fierce libertarian with a radical ideal: absolute internet freedom. In the wild frontier of the early 1990s internet, he saw a new world being born, one that he believed should exist beyond the reach of any government. In 1995, he found the perfect place for his vision: a decommissioned NATO nuclear bunker in the Dutch countryside. He bought it, installed servers, and named it Cyberbunker. The service he offered was simple yet revolutionary: bulletproof hosting. For a price, he kept any website online, no matter its content or who wanted it taken down. This meant ignoring legal takedown notices, resisting law enforcement inquiries, and providing a haven for data that no one else could touch. His clients were often the outcasts of the early internet: controversial political sites, forums for conspiracy theories, and most famously, file-sharing services like the Pirate Bay and mirrors for WikiLeaks. To Zent, it was a matter of principle. He wasn't a judge of morality, he was just a service provider, an architect of digital free speech in its most absolute form. But in 2002, his kingdom came under attack. A massive fire broke out in the Dutch bunker, and in the ashes, authorities found something unexpected: an illegal MDMA laboratory. The police cracked down, associates were convicted, and Zent's business license was revoked. Instead of retreating, he escalated his actions. Along with his outspoken associate, Sven Olaf Kamfoes, he declared the bunker a sovereign micronation, the Republic of Cyberbunker. They issued their own mock passports, designed a flag, and styled themselves as royalty. To realize his vision of a truly untouchable fortress, Zent needed a new kingdom, bigger, better, and far from their reach. Zent found his new kingdom in a sleepy German wine town, Trabach. Hidden beneath a hill was a Cold War relic of immense scale, a massive 5-story NATO bunker with 59,000 square feet of underground space, designed to survive a direct nuclear strike. It was a self-contained world with its own power generators, massive water tanks, and advanced air filtration systems capable of sealing it off from the outside for months. It was EMP-proof, fortified, and all but invisible. In 2013, Zent's foundation bought it for a remarkably low price of 450,000 euros. He pitched his plan to the local mayor as a legitimate, high-security data center that would bring jobs and high-tech industry to the region. The town, eager for investment, was convinced. Just like that, the gates to the fortress opened. Inside, Zent and his team built their true vision: Cyberbunker 2.0. They offered discreet and lucrative services, becoming the physical home for the darkest parts of the internet. Their clients allegedly included massive dark web drug markets like Wall Street Market, Cannabis Road, and Flug's Van. They hosted the command and control servers for botnets that launched crippling cyber attacks and provided the security backend for encrypted phone networks used by organized crime syndicates. A fortress of digital freedom with no backdoors. The downside was that his fortress also became a perfect insulated haven for criminals. For years, German authorities monitored the bunker. They suspected something was deeply wrong. When a massive DDoS attack on Deutsche Telekom knocked over 1 million Germans offline, the digital fingerprints pointed to a server inside Cyberbunker. When major dark web markets were investigated, the trail of data often led back to the fortress in Trabach. But proving it was another story. Zent operated under a formidable defense of willful blindness, claiming he was merely a landlord for data and had no idea what his clients were doing. Under German law at the time, this created a high legal barrier. Authorities had to prove he knew about specific crimes. The bunker was a digital black box protected by layers of technology and legal ambiguity. So the police decided to get inside. They didn't use a battering ram, but instead sent undercover agents to apply for jobs. One posed as a handyman, another as a cleaning lady, and a third as a web developer looking for work. For months they gathered intelligence, living a life of immense pressure and risk. They mapped the bunker's labyrinthine layout, learned the daily routines, and identified the key players in Zent's inner circle. The final breakthrough came from outside. A complex multinational investigation cracked Wall Street market, one of the world's largest dark web marketplaces. The takedown of this massive platform provided a direct, undeniable link, showing that Cyberbunker wasn't just passively hosting crime. It was an active, essential part of a criminal organization. The police now had their evidence and their inside sources, but they faced one impossible problem. How do you get a group of paranoid tech criminals to willingly walk out of a nuclear-proof fortress? The solution was surprisingly simple: invite them to dinner. The undercover agents, now trusted members of the team, helped arrange a fake business meeting. They pitched a lucrative new deal to Zent, framing it as a major expansion. The culmination of the deal was to be a celebratory meal at a historic mill restaurant nearby. Zent and his key associates, their guards down and believing a new chapter of success was on the table, left the safety of their fortress and drove to the meeting, completely unaware of what awaited them. As they sat down for dinner in the charming, rustic restaurant, the signal was given. 650 police officers descended on the compound in a silent invasion. Specialist teams used heavy cutting equipment to slice through the multi-ton steel doors and began their careful, methodical descent 5 stories into the earth. They found exactly what they were looking for: room after room of humming servers, the physical heart of a vast digital criminal enterprise. Before Zent and his team could take a bite, the armed police swarmed the room. The king and his court were captured, completely blindsided in a moment of triumph. Their digital kingdom was seized without a single shot fired. The raid was a spectacular success, but the real fight was just beginning. To understand Cyberbunker, you must grasp the ideology. Zent was part of a movement of cyberpunks and crypto-anarchists. They believed universal, strong encryption is a fundamental human right, a necessary defense against ever-expanding government surveillance. This idea was shaped by scandals like the case of Crypto AG, a Swiss company that sold compromised encryption machines to over 120 countries while being secretly owned by the CIA and German intelligence. This allowed them to read the secret communications of both allies and enemies for decades. For people like Zent, it represented the ultimate betrayal, proving that governments could not be trusted to respect privacy. The Snowden revelations of 2013, which occurred the same year Zenit bought the German bunker, were the ultimate validation of this worldview. The only true privacy was the privacy you built yourself. This was the core defense for bulletproof hosting. The problem is that the same fortress protecting a dissident can also shield a drug trafficker, a malware distributor, or a child exploitation ring. A neutral tool in a criminal's hand becomes a weapon. This is the paradox of Cyberbunker, a service built on a noble ideal that created a perfect ecosystem for crime. The court case against Cyberbunker wasn't just about crime, it was about that very paradox. The defense argued that Zent was simply a service provider, a champion of privacy and free speech. Neutral to his client's actions, much like a post office isn't responsible for the contents of the mail it delivers. The prosecution countered that he was a willing and essential accomplice, the landlord of a criminal empire who deliberately marketed his services to criminals and profited immensely from the chaos they caused. They used a novel legal strategy, charging him not with aiding each individual crime, but under a German law against forming and belonging to a criminal organization. In the end, the verdict was nuanced. He and his key associates were found guilty of forming a criminal organization. The king of Cyberbunker was sentenced to 5 years and 9 months in prison. His fortress was seized and its servers were silenced. The raid on Cyberbunker was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new one. The trial set a powerful legal precedent. The court established that if you build, market, and operate a service with the clear intention of attracting and protecting criminals, you cannot claim ignorance. You are no longer just a neutral utility, you are a co-conspirator. Zent is now free, reportedly with many plans for the future. Today, bulletproof services are decentralized, spread across multiple jurisdictions, hidden on obscure cloud platforms, or even built on blockchain technology, making them far harder to locate and dismantle. In the digital age, the battle over who controls the secret bunkers of the internet is far from over. The fortresses are no longer just concrete and steel. They are code and encryption, and the war for them is being fought on the battlefield we cannot see.